So thank you, AJ. My name's Andrew. I'm founder of Arrowstream, and I'm a pragmatic guy. I like to help my clients, and I want to help them fast, and I want to help them with modern technology. Typically, my work is using Tableau. I'm a proper Tableau geek. I can make survey data get into Tableau. That's kind of my niche, my sweet spot, has been for years. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is not about Tableau, because Tableau is quite expensive. It's about stuff that you can use tomorrow. So when I came up with this presentation, I wanted to give you something that, I mean, you could go in your lunch break if you're that enthused, and actually start using it right now. So how do we make this happen? So I'm going to talk to you about how we can turn spreadsheets and take you on that journey to how you make AI agents. It falls so nicely with Gear's presentation. And so it's kind of like, well, it's so inspiring what you've just said. How do we make it happen? And so what I'm hoping to do today is inspire you to take that first step. So with Excel, it's been around for years. I wrote my dissertation 20 years ago in VBA. And since then, it hasn't really moved on that much. VBA is still kind of the tool that they use. Oh dear. Uh-oh. Anyway, I can still talk. It's still the kind of old tool that it used to be. Now, there have been a few developments, like they introduced Power Query a while ago, and they've done some extra little bits and bobs. But over the last couple of years, there seems to be this massive acceleration in Excel's capability. So things like dynamic ranges, lambda functions, tables, slicers, there's some really good stuff. And about 9 months ago, we did an ASC lab session all about some of this new stuff that's in Excel. And I very much encourage you to take a look at it, because some of it's really quite cool. But there's one thing that comes to mind for me, which is incredible. And that's Python in Excel. So what I want to do first, I don't know what's happened here, but we don't need it. It's a bit stuffy, so I want you all to stand up, and we're going to do a live poll. Okay, fab. Right, that's it. Stretch your legs. Fantastic. So what I want you to do is sit down if you do not have Excel. You don't have Excel on your computer. Okay, fab. That's really cool. So lots of people use Excel. Wonderful. Now I'd like you to sit down if you've never written a Python script before. Very cool. Purpose of this, these are your superheroes. And of the people who are still standing, how many people have actually shared one of those Python codes or used it in a real situation and not just for a little bit of fun? Okay. So, yeah, like I said, these people standing, take a look at them. They're your superheroes. They are the ones who are going to help you along your journey. Okay, so there's my little poll. So you can take a sit down now. Sorry. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to introduce you to this tool. And an ASC conference isn't an ASC conference until you get a spreadsheet out. So that's what we're going to do. So the key thing, which I'm going to talk to you about, is this function, equals py. That's it. You do that in your Excel at home, and you can write Python. So if you could flip over to the Excel spreadsheet. This is my glamour assistant, Neil. Yes, Debbie McGee in disguise. Fab. Okay, so you have to
take it off there.
Yeah, that's the one. Cool. Okay. So Neil, if in the very top cell there, if you could write equals py, and that's all, and the moment that he puts an open bracket, things change. Okay. So if you see this kind of environment now, this is new for those of us who use Excel quite a lot. That is now able to take Python script. Quite cool, huh? And if you could just write the word A equals, and then just click a cell anywhere, that now passes that data into that Python script. Okay? So quite cool. Who knew this? No one. Cool, perfect. So one of the weird things about Python and Excel is that it's different to how a normal spreadsheet works. So it's, if you've written Python before, it's generally you do the top thing, then it kind of works its way down. In a similar way, Excel works the same way. So you write your functions up here in kind of like a sequential order, but if you declare a variable down here and then reference it up here, it's not going to work. So as long as you've got that concept in your head, you can start to do wonderful things. Okay, so the reason I started getting into this was because my client, they drew bar charts, and they wanted to put the significance labels on. A little up arrow to say if it's significantly higher, a little down arrow if it's significantly lower. But they were like manually drawing on their PowerPoint chart those little symbols, and then when the data changed, they had to do it again. So I was like, there must be a better way. And I battled with Excel charts and tried to get the fonts working, and it's just such a pain. And so, Neil, if you could tab over to the dynamics chart. So it's a pretty boring chart, I'm sorry. But this is now generated by Python and in one cell. So this little cell here contains the code which generates that based on that. So, Neil, if you could just change like the low base size on one of them from 0 to 1. I'm going to fire my assistant. Press escape, actually. You're still adding things in the previous doodah. That's it. Perfect. And so that will then regenerate the chart. It will change the base size of the May one and show it in grey eventually. Okay? And then the little arrows on top also do the same thing. So this was my kind of idea. This is now a lot simpler, it's very dynamic. And they can just use this on any table they like, which is structured like that. So it's quite a powerful little tool. And so the problem with Excel at the moment is that you have to manually configure all these little charts and copy and paste them. If you go, oh, I want to change that one, you have to then change it again in all those other ones. With this, you write the one function, and then you keep calling it. Python's great. Okay, then the next one, if you could go along to word cloud. We can do word clouds in Excel now. Cool, huh? Before it used to be something, oh, I need to put my data on a website and then let that generate the word cloud. And it's just like, should I be doing this? Not sure. But now you can just do it straight in Excel. And this one has kind of stop words. So Neil, if you could just type the word drink in there. It will take the word drink out of your word cloud, regenerate it, done, eventually. There we go. It also works with Excel functionality. So we've got a little slicer here. If we clicked on mail, for example, it will then filter it based on the mail responses. So all of a sudden, we've now got a very dynamic way of doing word clouds in Excel. Cool, huh? Okay, if we'll skip along the next ones quite quick. Radar plots, it can do that, yay. Polar histograms, this is one I got really quite excited about. Imagine your data's like this, you've got loads of countries, you've got some sort of score, income levels, and then if you could zoom out for us a little bit, you can generate this in Excel. You can change any of that data right now, and it will update the chart. Cool, huh? And then if you can use that in any of your reports going forward, or you can adjust it, you can change the background colors, you can change the color scheme, all dynamically. I just think it's like mind-blowing. But it's been there for years. All this stuff has been available in Python for years. But it's so unlocked, it's so locked up, unless you're a geek like, okay. Then I thought, well, how can we make this kind of even more kind of market researchy, survey-y? So there's fuzzy logic matching, which is our next tab. So imagine you've got your code frame. So in this example, we've got a little, sorry, Neil, go on a little bit further. So here's our code frame of the official names. And I thought, let's try and trick it, because I've got an Andrew Smith and an Andrew Smith's son. So if we scroll down a little bit again, here's my messy data. There's an Andy Smith, so how's it going to cope with that? And so if we then go to the output, it's then done a fuzzy logic matching as best it can on that data. It's given a score for each one out of 100, 100 being a perfect match. And then for the Andy Smith's one, I've made it show the second best, so that you as an analyst who's trying to make these kind of guesses, which one should I use? And that's just my interpretation of how I've used this. So you could figure it how you like. Weighting is our next tab. Here's rim weighting in Python. So here's your survey data, here are your target weights. And if we scroll across to the side, we'll have the rim weights for it. Again, completely dynamic, able to change, update, all that kind of stuff. Next one's Faker. So there's a Python library called Faker. So here, if we do a little drop down of available things that we can fake, I don't know if you can see at the back, first names, last names, jobs, email addresses, phone numbers, etc., etc. And if we just scroll down a little bit, here's our fake data. And what's quite cool about this is it's used really for user interface design, when you just need to kind of make it look like it's got some stuff in it so that it's real. But what's quite cool, if you scroll up to the top, we can change the language. So if we change it to, I don't know, Japanese, the JAGP, it will then regenerate it. It's just doing its little thinking. That's what that little circle with the refresh is. Come on. And it's giving you first and last name. I don't know Japanese. I think that's right. But isn't that quite cool? So within your spreadsheet, there's no limit for how many rows we can create. I've done 10, so it's a little bit quick. But if you wanted 1,000 rows, you could do that. So you could make all your fake data. I don't want to do this. Okay, synthetic data. I thought, well, that's the hot topic. Let's see if we can make synthetic data. So in this example, my survey script had some random error in that these data points disappeared. So it's just like, well, how can I simulate that data? So it's then using a machine learning algorithm, looking over the past responses for that person, looking at the broad range of all the responses that were there, and it's filling in the gaps. And that's a very simple basic one. You could refine it with the more Python code that you want. Pair plot is another kind of weird one. So iris data set is quite a common one in machine learning world. So here I've got some data points and a different category at the end. In 3 lines of Python code, you can create that chart there, which does like a cross matrix of all the different data points. And if you could scroll across a little bit more, a bit more, there we go. We can also do it to create a segmentation. So it's like a tree classifier algorithm, and it's kind of taking that data, analyzing it, going over in like lots of different ways to generate how you do your segmentations. So all of a sudden, Excel is like the most powerful tool for a data analyst to research. Cool. So if we can flip back to the presentation. Super. If it still works. And I've got this. Oh, wrong way. So what you need to do this is creativity and curiosity. So if there's a pain point in your market research process or your analysis process, go, how can we make this better? And where do you ask those questions? ChatGPT. It will help you. Like, is this possible in Python? And they go, yeah, there you go. It might not work first time, but it will inspire you to go, there is an answer. There is an alternative to this that we can look into and explore. However, you will hit a brick wall. There are limitations with Python and Excel. So the first thing, you can't import any other Python libraries. So if there's a Python library that's really useful for you, you can't use it because you've only got the set number which are in the kind of Microsoft environment, and they've kind of gone, we're just using these ones. So at that point, you go, that's annoying. But at that point, you already know enough Python to go, I feel confident now that I could actually make my own Python environment and set these things up, rather than try and do that straight off the bat. Other things that may be a concern is the security aspect. So where is this Python code being run? Now, I Googled this just before this presentation, looked on the Microsoft website. They use their enterprise-grade security, which is locked down to your organization. So if you're happy using Excel online with Microsoft, then it's using the same kind of encapsulation as that. Other little annoying things, you can't install fonts. So all those lovely charts which I did, you can't put your client-specific font in it. And it's just like, oh, that's so annoying because it's so close to being perfect. But they're images, they're not editable charts. So you can't just go in and change them. But if you just opened up your own Python environment, because you've kind of got the confidence it's possible, we just need to change the font, then you can take that extra step. Okay. So there is a way around these kind of bricks in the road that you're going to come across on your journey. And it's not going to work as an AI agent straight away, but the code that you've written in your Python Excel, you can lift it. Maybe not word for word, but it's the same Python which is used in these APIs and all the rest of it. Maybe the code isn't as perfect as like a data engineer would do, but if you employed like a developer team and said, well, we've got all of these cool spreadsheets that we use, they are going to kind of cry a little bit. If you say, we've got all these Python functions that we use, and we want you to put them into an API, they'll go, all right, I can do that. So it gets you along that journey. And I think that's really powerful. And as an industry that we feel we're a little bit behind, if we can all kind of just take that first step and go, well, let's think about writing this in a more Pythonic way, then we can get a really good place. So yeah, I don't know what the future's going to look like, to be honest, but I do know having things in Python is going to make our lives a lot better. That is the end of my talk.
Very clever. Very clever. Well done. So would you use Excel for these things, or just that you can use Excel for these things?
So for me, as an independent, pragmatic consultant, clients come to me with their problems, and then they go, how can we do it? And they don't have the technology, the infrastructure set up to go, well, you just deploy this, and it's just like, well, that's not going to happen. But they do have Excel. So I can fix their little problems quite quickly. Like, how can I make a heat map work, for example, with survey data, overlay on an image, and have that as a Python export? Like, something that's quite annoying, we can fix. And it's that part where it goes, and it opens the eyes of kind of, this is possible. And then it gets you further.
Questions? Comments?
Hi. Is there any sort of size limit to the Python code you can stick in a cell, basically?
Yes, good question. So Microsoft offer this as like a freebie on top of your Microsoft 365 account. And then they give you like premium compute power when you first use it. And then after a day of hammering it, it kind of goes, we're kind of reducing your speeds now. So that's why it was taking a little bit slower on when I was refreshing things. And Python isn't that slow, but Excel in Python is a bit slow. Now you can pay, I think it's $20 a month or £20 a month to get premium compute if you want it. So that option is there. But again, it's kind of hitting that brick wall. And at some point you'll go, this isn't quite enough for me to kind of use in anger. And I wouldn't say, let's run Ipsos off Excel spreadsheets. Let's not go that back step. But it gives you that first step to making your life better.
Yeah, Jerome.
Yeah, people used to say like, you might lose your job to AI, and say, no, you're might lose your job to Andrew. I thought it was amazing. And I'd love to have those spreadsheets that you showed, because they were fantastic.
Yeah. I will share them all, by the way.
Brilliant. But my question is it's about the brick wall. Let's imagine you hit that brick wall. You need an external API. You need some library that work really well to create your diagrams or whatever. What do you do if you want to show that in Excel? You want to get your data.
So you go around it, like you do your own separate environment.
So you become a Python coder.
Yeah. Or you hand it over to someone who is a Python coder.
Yeah.
So I've got this far, I can't go any further. And they go, oh, okay. And then take it on.
Because what's great is like, it's a bit like Jupyter Notebook where, like whenever you press on your stuff, you got it in Excel, and it's what's so nice. So you move to Jupyter Notebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the power of Excel is why everyone stood up at the start. Everyone's got it. So how many people got a Jupyter Notebook and know how to run it on their machine? A few. But it's a barrier. With Excel and Python, there is no barrier anymore to start learning Python. I've got one more slide, actually, just to go on if we can flip back to the Excel, if it works. I forgot to mention. You can do QR codes as well. So if anybody wants to book a meeting with me, just scan that on your phone, and then we can chat about this more. It's mad.
Here we go. Last. Final question.
Thanks. I don't know if it's needed, but does it exist in any other Microsoft tools? I mean, things like Word, PowerPoint, Teams, can you...
Yeah, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I'm just trying to think of options.
I don't really care about them, to be honest.
No, you don't. But I'm guessing some businesses might. And I know Python could create stuff for, but I'm wondering that direct link.
Yeah.
Whether you can... Okay.
I mean, it reminds me of another kind of challenge that you have. So if you want to learn how to do this, Python and Excel, you kind of Google, how do I do Python and Excel? But the key words of Python and Excel, they'll just tell you how to use Python to make Excel spreadsheets, rather than tell you how to do the things which I've just demonstrated. So it's kind of like a bit of a barrier that you have to kind of work through.
Okay, Neil, thank you also for supporting, and thank you, Andrew.